Hello everyone, welcome to the CayVin Universe. Thanks for joining us here today on the show. Of course, my name is Vinny Vasquez, joined by the lovely Caylin.
Hey everybody, if you're new to the show, welcome. Make sure you hit like and subscribe down below to get to know us more. And if you're returning to the show and you would like more bonus content, make sure you find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CayVin Universe.
Oh yes, get you some bonus content there. CayVin Universe Raw.
CayVin Universe Raw episode 1 was a banger.
Yeah, basically our third podcast that we have going on. We got CayVin Universe, we got Jobber Circle Wrestling, which we haven't posted in a while, but then we also have CayVin Universe Raw. I really like doing that on Patreon. It's pretty cool.
Me too. It's very free, I should say.
Yeah.
I can basically say what I want.
Yeah, and then if you're watching on video, hopefully my shirt is not too wrinkled today. Yeah, that's been bothering me for a week. That's been bothering me since last episode, is how wrinkled my shirt was in the intro. I
didn't think it was that bad.
I don't know. It was bothering me. It was late, and we didn't do the intro. I had to do the intro late. I think I just had what I had on, and it's the beauty of podcasting. No one said, we never said we were professionals, people. You don't have to be professional to be a podcaster.
And there's not a dress code to be a podcaster.
Yeah, that's true. You just have to be authentic, and
exactly.
Here we are. But
that's what we are.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of professional and authentic, we had a pretty interesting guest today.
Yes, Scarlet Porretta. It was a very, very eye-opening conversation, if I guess you can say. I really enjoyed it.
Honestly, yeah, and it's been a crazy week for us. It's been a very hectic, and looking back at this episode, which you guys will check out here in a second, it's like what we talked about with the energies and just it's hard to describe, but it speaks so true to me.
Yes,
and that's why I think it's going to be an amazing conversation for people to check out. So yeah, what do you think?
I think you guys are gonna love it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today we have the lovely Scarlet Porretta here with us. Super excited to talk to her. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes,
love your show, and I genuinely appreciate the invite, so thank you kindly.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I know we kind of discussed before, some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. First, do you want to kind of tell, our listeners kind of, what you do, what you...
Sure. I'm excited, actually, to share that. It's a little interesting, and I'm what is called an intuitive medium. I am Clair-audient, which means I hear whispers first. So I will see things, I will smell, there's other things, but my predominant ability is Clair-audient. So you can imagine how weird that is when you're hearing all these whispers. For a while, I was wondering if I was okay.
Right. Yeah, because it started at a young age for you, right?
It started when I was a kid. And the funny thing is, when I was a very young child, I saw things clearly. And you know how it is when you see things as a child that nobody can help you understand. You shut it down. Shut it down. So I still do see things, but it's funny how the ability has switched over to Clair-audient, where I hear the whispers and then I start seeing things.
Wow.
And is it would you say it's more like a faintness, or is it a whisper that you can't understand? Is it does it sound just like chatter, or does it become clear?
All of the above. All of the above. Yeah, it just depends. I mean, the whispers, it's funny because I always thought, am I legit hearing these whispers? Or is this just something that, you know what, I think I heard a whisper. Right. And in some of the paranormal investigations that I've done, we have caught actually the noise or whatever it is that I heard. And then you hear the noise first, then you hear me saying, oh, did you hear that whistle? But you can hear the whistle before. So I'm actually picking up information, which is so strange.
Right. Wow. And is this from I'm wondering, do you know these people, or is this just random? Could be anybody that's there.
Pretty random. It's pretty random. It can be anybody. And I was actually just having this conversation earlier today with my girlfriend, where everybody has a different ability, I can see strangers. I don't often see, family members on the other side, whereas my sister only sees family members and doesn't see strangers. So everyone's a little different. My girlfriend was saying that she sees strangers. She doesn't see, family members. Everybody's got a different ability. I don't know how or why, but I guess it's no different than anything else in life, right? We all have to be a little different. Otherwise, what are we going to do with the same abilities?
Right. Right.
Man, that's so interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And so you said your sister. So your sister, is she more clairaudient, or she will like actually see them mainly?
All of the above again. She
Yeah.
sees, she'll hear, she dreams.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, my whole family has experienced
Right.
things.
Mm-hmm.
I find, and I find that this is pretty common. For some reason, like our parents' generation kind of just said, shh, don't, but other than that, the prior generation, they were all into it. And I'm noticing that we are becoming a little more aware. And what I also like is, with paranormal investigation, some of this equipment, we're actually able to start creating a science around it. So it's very
Wow.
fascinating. It won't be so mystical in a while, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like the merging of two worlds almost.
Yeah.
You know?
It really is. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, a little bit deeper. So, well, first of all, do you think like something like, I mean, I would honestly say what you have is a gift, and you said your family has it too. Do you think something like this gift is genetic? They could be passed down?
I do believe it. And it's interesting because a lot of people say, oh, you're gifted or you've got to get, I don't consider myself gifted.
Right.
For the sole reason that I'm not special, and for me to say I'm gifted means that I'm special, but I'm not. I'm just like everybody else.
Right.
And it's an ability. I have a certain ability. You guys have a certain ability. If we really have a good long conversation about it, I am certain we would dig up some mystical abilities within you as well.
All right. That'd be
Easy.
awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And is it genetic? I do notice that it does typically come from the maternal line, but in some cases it comes from the paternal line as well. In my case, I've noticed it comes from both my mom and my dad's side of the
Oh,
family.
wow.
So yeah, we were kind of doomed at birth. So
So do you think that these these strangers or these whispers, do you think that going deeper into it, do you think that they're what people may call it ghost spirits, do you think that they're here with us, or do you think that this is maybe coming from another world, another dimension? I'm all into going into all that.
what a great question. And I think that's the question that, a lot of people are very curious about. All I can do is share my experiences in and around that. We are in one realm right now, and I firmly believe there are other realms. I also firmly believe that there are different types of spirit. There's spirits, and then there's entities, and then on top of it, there's different types of hauntings. So some of them are from this world, some of them are non-human. And I know that when I say non-human, we automatically go, oh my God, demonic, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
that's
I don't
not
want to say that. Yeah, go
Yeah.
that route. Yeah.
But sometimes it is demonic, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Thankfully, those situations and those experiences are rare. I assure you,
Oh.
it's rare.
Oh.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
And so when I say non-human, I mean some of our mystical experiences, I'm gonna label it, could be angelic. They could be our pets from a past life. Non-human does not necessarily mean automatically demonic, right? It's a fascinating world. To answer your question about the realms, I do believe that there are separate realms, and each of these beings, I'm going to say, belong to a different realm.
Right. And so do you think they're like I guess from your experience, have you ever like experienced like a whisper where you feel like you had like a message to deliver?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell us like about a time that you got, you sent a message that way?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's very difficult because, in my everyday dealings, now I do my best to turn it off and turn it on.
Right.
And I'm very mindful and respectful of people's energy and their privacy, right? I'm not one of those mediums that goes chasing you down the
Right.
grocery
Right.
store.
Because there's the
by
type,
the way,
yeah.
your grandmother is with you. Yeah, I find
We've
that.
experienced that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have.
I don't want to comment on whether that's good or not. Everybody handles things differently.
Right.
I like to follow, the laws of the universe and energy. And unless you give me permission to go in, I will not go in. Having said that, they're sneaky sometimes, and they do, I've been in a doctor's office and I had one like talking to me, and I'm like, shush, like, how am I
Now
supposed
is not the
to
time.
go to this lady that's sitting there minding her business and go, oh, by the way, like, I don't
Can I-
weird her out, and I don't know what she's there for. But
Right.
the message was clear. It was, please let her know she's going to be fine, and for her not to worry.
Wow.
And so I did find a different way to say it. Like, I didn't say to her, oh, by the way, so and so is here.
Right.
I started a conversation. I chatted and got to know the lady a little bit, and then I slipped it in.
Yeah.
I am certain that everything will be fine. No need to worry. And I know that when I do that in itself, they feel that message is different. Because I'm sure either our listeners or you yourself, when you've gotten a message from someone that seemed maybe a little random, you kind of take it to heart. Like, you really take that in, right? So that's how I tend to do it, but it happens all the time. It
Yeah.
happens all the time.
Yeah. Like remember our experience was like we were at a bar. Like, so it was like the most random place.
Yeah, I don't even know. And then that's the thing. It kind of hits you like I didn't even know how it happened. It just, we were talking about something, and all of a sudden it was like, wait, whoa.
Yeah, it steered a completely different way. And it's like, wait, was this supposed to happen?
Yeah, because even if I think, because I don't know, that's what I always think too.
Yeah.
Even if, maybe the message wasn't clear, or maybe it wasn't delivered the right way, let's just say it like that. I still believe it was still meant to happen.
There is always some form of a message in there, and that message is always subject to interpretation, right? You can read it as something positive, you can read it as something negative, something like meant to be, or something, whatever, you can label it whatever, right? It's subject to interpretation.
Yeah.
So I know too, on your biography, you speak a lot about like spirituality and energies, and things like that. How important do you think it is for people to like understand that aspect of like energies and, the positives and the negatives, and, interpreting that?
What a great question. That is a fabulous question. And I believe that 100% of what happens to us is the responsibility of the energy that we bring into this space, and the energy that we invite into our space, right? And a lot of times we're our own worst culprit, because how many times do we have negative thoughts? And if we only understood how powerful those negative thoughts are, we would never have, another negative thought ever again. And just to give you a little bit of, I'm going to rewind a little bit with some information. There's a quantum physicist. He's now passed away, Dr. Masaru Emoto, and he did actually a whole study on messages from water. And so he actually studied the effect of thought on water. So I welcome anybody to go check that out. Now, just in the spirit of moving quickly, because if I sit here and share with you everything, we'll be here for at least 3 hours. So being respectful of time, what happens is, like, let's just for a moment imagine, okay, a still pool of water, whether it be a lake, whatever it is. And we've all taken a stone and tossed it into the water, right? And so our energy is exactly the same. Our thought will go out into the universe exactly the same. So you toss the stone in the water, and what do you get? That ripple effect, right?
Right.
So if you're trying to manifest something, or you're going to go, oh, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to have a great day today, and there goes that stone cast, and that beautiful vibration goes out into the universe. But then what ends up happening is, oh, but what if, what if I don't make enough money today, or what if, whatever,
Right.
In goes that second stone, and now it creates another ripple effect. So what happens to the first one?
Oh, it gets overlapped, or overtaken.
Interrupted.
Interrupted.
Yeah, there you go. Interrupted. There.
That's a
You
good
can
way
find
to
the
put
word.
it,
Right? It's interrupted. It's pretty crazy how that works, in my opinion. Now, having said that, so starting with thoughts, that is the number one thing, especially when we're manifesting our life. Like, you can actually, create situations either on purpose or by accident, just by your thoughts. The other thing is because sometimes, maybe we have a kind soul and we're strong at the same time, we're nurturing. And so sometimes we invite some drifters, I'm going to call them. Okay. And they're riddled with negative energy. And somehow your energy, your life gets interrupted by this, and so it does affect us. And there are ways to combat that. Number one, our thoughts is number one. There's a lot of protection that we can do. And believe it or not, the first line of defense is the food we eat. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, whatever. If you're eating high vibrational food, then your vibration is going to remain high. If you eat low vibrational food, you're going to lower the vibration. And, when I do any paranormal investigations, I always make sure that I eat well, like no alcohol. I'm a nerd, no alcohol, no recreational drugs, like nothing, and I stick to my essential oils and my clean eating, and it's important.
Right. No, yeah, I understand.
It
yeah,
is,
that
yeah.
is. But I mean, but at the same time too, I mean, just to play, devil's advocate, I mean, going on
I
a
know.
haunting like drunk or something
That
does
sounds
sound
fun.
like fun though.
It would be fun, but
Right.
it happened with where we, a group of us went, all of us are mediums and intuitives. And one of them who was exploring his newfound abilities, he thought it'd be fun, had a couple of drinks, dinner, and then we went to the location, right? Well, what ended up happening is he ended up getting, attacked and overcome by an angry spirit.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was scary. If I didn't witness it myself, because honestly, I am one of those that, I see it on some of these shows,
Right.
and they call them possessions. Some people will call it being jumped by a spirit or taken over.
Oh, she especially loves all
I
those
was like,
documentaries.
yeah, it's so crazy. I used to be like, oh, they're a bunch of drama queens, or that doesn't happen. I actually witnessed it myself, and I witnessed a friend of mine who was the host of this particular event remove the spirit from him, and he was fine afterwards. It took him a while to shake it off.
Yeah.
And so what happens when you don't eat well? When you don't eat high vibration food, and then you engage in, some drinking or whatever. And I'm not saying don't ever, don't drink and don't, these are personal, just don't do that and then go on an investigation or dabble in the paranormal,
right.
And so what it does is it weakens your aura and your protective mechanisms. And so I've made the choice as an intuitive medium, because I take that with responsibility. I want to make sure the messages I give are accurate, and I want to make sure that I'm safe as well.
Absolutely.
So I choose to eat clean. I choose not to have alcohol, and I choose not to have any drugs or anything like that.
Right.
So that my frequency will remain the same.
Yeah.
So is it?
And I can recognize when something not good is attempting to enter.
Wow.
So is it those like the basically, I guess I would guess, natural foods like leafy greens and stuff like that? Would those be the best, essential? I guess so. The lower vibration foods, the better, correct?
The lower vibration is not good. You want the
so
higher
The high
vibration. Okay, I
vibration.
just want to make that clear. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So higher vibrational foods would be, yes, fruits, vegetables, organic, high quality of meat, if that's what you do. Lower vibrational would be, the processed foods, the fast food, which is so convenient. Trust me, eating like this is pretty.
Right.
It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah. Now being in the country, we eat fast food a lot less, just because it's like 30 minutes just to get to the nearest town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that works out sometimes.
That's working to your benefit.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But in the city, oh gosh, it was after work. It was just the quickest, easiest thing for people.
It is. And listen, I've fallen, to that as well, or I've succumbed to that because of that convenience, right? But like I said, I've made that choice so that I can be better at what I do for those that come to me. I mean, it's my responsibility to give someone clarity and peace, whether I'm, doing a clearing, whether I'm, doing a reading, whether I'm speaking to their loved ones, and I'm huge on soul, and my company is actually Scarlet Soul Cafe. It's about nourishing the soul in every way and
Mm-hmm.
protecting that soul, so we're
Right.
ignoring that.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's really important to
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
attention to.
How can someone facing a challenging or like difficult moment in their life open their mind and like consider like new
Yes.
perspectives? Like how
Yes.
can we do that?
It's an easy thing. So I'm going to give two suggestions. I love that you asked that question because it's so important.
Right.
Right.
There's two ways of doing it. Number one, it's your soul. Where is your soul going? Are we moving towards our soul purpose, or are we moving away from it? And so, I always talk about using your feelings and your emotions as a GPS,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you are moving towards happiness, towards love, well, clearly that is, your soul's purpose. So anything that feels good, feels joyful, is moving towards your soul purpose. Anything that I categorize as fear, it could be anxiety, it could be disheartened, it could be sadness, depression, all of those things. And it doesn't need to be that deep either. It's just emotions that make us feel unhappy or uncomfortable. We are now moving away from our soul's purpose. So that's an easy GPS. Having said that, when someone has been affected by a haunting in their home, or maybe they've invited energy in their space by way of people or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
and they've now shifted their energy into a place that they shouldn't be going. It's too hard for them to imagine feeling happy or joyful. And
Right,
so
that makes
I
sense.
take it to a more physical, a physical exercise. So I'll do it really, really quickly. If you take for a moment and you imagine where it is that you dream of and what success for you looks like. And for everyone, that's going to be a little bit different, right? Like it could be financial freedom. It could be, a healthy, a healthy lifestyle. It could be anything, right? Most of the time it's about money.
Right.
So let's, what does that look like
Yeah.
for you? Right.
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, totally. And so if, and you want to spend some time sitting in that and really understanding and feeling what that feels like. And then unfortunately, we got to take you to rock bottom. And what does rock bottom look like? And so then you start labeling things, and I'll make it even easier. Like if I want to lose weight, and what is my success story? Oh, my success might be me wearing a bikini on the beach or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what is my rock bottom? My rock bottom would be, being 400 pounds and, whatever, right? And so now all of a sudden I've got to start labeling my actions. So are my actions are they success oriented, or are they going to be rock bottom oriented?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's an easy physical exercise to at least get that momentum going. And then once you've got a little bit of momentum with, okay, this behavior is going to get me success, this behavior is going to get me rock bottom, then you start plowing the way for clarity in your energy, and you start understanding, oh, this is what feels good. This is moving me towards my soulful purpose. This is moving me away from it.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way when you can't get over a challenging thought, and then there are going to be some thoughts, for instance, when you're dealing with, an illness or a family member that's ill and not going to get better. How do how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
Well, I break that down a little bit more in that we need to either be in a state of joy or enjoyment, or we need to accept it. Because if we don't accept it and we're not in a state of enjoyment, then we're in a state of dysfunction. And so that's another way to just kind of label things. Like you don't have to like it. Like my mom is not well. And I really had a hard time with it, because unfortunately what she's dealing with is not going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to accept it. I don't have to like it. I need to accept it so that then I can be better for her, for my family, and those around me that rely on me, right?
Right.
If I don't accept it, I'm in a state of dysfunction. And trust me, guys, I was in a state of dysfunction last year. I can giggle about it now. It's just, I was a mess. Somebody talked to, I would start crying. You can't function like that. And then by doing that, then you start leaving yourself exposed to energies that are negative, that will want to try to infect you, as I call it, while you're vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in your most vulnerable state, going through stuff.
Yeah.
No, that speaks so close to home.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Wow.
Yeah.
Because I too believe that, like, especially when you're, I guess maybe the Hispanic culture, we call it ojo. Like, we believe that, like, when you're out and about and maybe there's like somebody staring at you, or like jealousy or whatever the case may be, maybe you didn't yield when you're supposed to, and someone just gives you that, that just that negative energy. I really believe that just, if we could see it, it would just be like a beam that just connects people.
And it does.
Right. So how would you, I wouldn't dare say reverse it, because I wouldn't want to be that person, but how would you, like you spoke on,
like
earlier,
putting a guard up, kind of
like protect yourself
from how do you protect yourself? There's a number of ways, and I love that you've got that Hispanic background, because my background being Italian is so very similar, and we have that same belief of the evil eye. And sometimes evil eye is intentional, and sometimes it's not. It's someone's looking at you with admiration and envy. And it's not done on purpose, but it does affect you. It does affect you. And so how do you protect yourself? Well, there's a number of ways. So you can do crystals, there are herbs out there. I'll talk about all of these religious items, depending on the culture that you're from and your belief system. And then of course there's mindset as well that will support. I'll start with the mindset one, because that one's super easy. So basically all you've got to do is you've got to call in. So you got to take a moment and ground your emotions, connect with the earth, and then call on higher light beings and state out loud, I call on higher light beings. I'm only open and receptive to receiving information and guidance from higher light beings. Any other beings that are not beneficial to me, or to my family, or whoever it is that you want to talk about, must move on to their destiny now.
Yeah.
And I welcome and I thank higher light beings. Super easy. And to your point, how you were saying, you don't want to send it back to the person.
Right.
You just want to send that negative energy to its destiny. It's not up to us. It's up to the universe and God and whoever else is managing us.
That's awesome. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that just blew my mind.
I know. I'm like speechless. I don't know what to say to that. Wow.
Yeah. And that's the easiest way to protect yourself. Now, if we look at things like herbs, historically, like if we really dig into your backgrounds, I'm sure historically we've got all kinds of herbs and smudges and things like that. I like doing both. Like when you're working with herbs, it should very well be either it should be from the inside and from the outside. So I love rosemary. I'll steep some rosemary in hot boiling water, and I'll drink that tea. I won't do it at night because it might keep you awake. At night, I will use basil, but there's Palo Santo that you can smudge. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Those are just a few.
Like sage, right? I know people.
Sage is good. Sage, we got to be careful with. It's so commonly used because that's the marketing, right?
Right.
Sage, if you're not careful, can trap what you don't want in. Sage is wonderful if you've removed stuff and now you want to seal it. Right. But if you're wanting to remove anything negative, then the important thing to do would be to use something like Palo Santo. Evil can't stick around Palo Santo. Rosemary is another one. These are my two go-tos, but there are so many other ones out there where evil or negative cannot stay around it. And then of course there's crystals. Crystals are, things like the white crystals, there's white, black crystals, right? There's different color ones, and anything black will absorb negativity. Anything white will promote unconditional love from the universe. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones in between, like rose quartz, selenite, labradorite, tiger's eye.
Yeah,
these are high.
Some of those sites, and there's so many.
So many.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. And so it's best for you to go into like a place or, search online and just go to what you're drawn to, because your being will tell you what you need very naturally.
Very
But
true.
those are just a few quick tips on how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. Because
Thank
I've
you,
always, I've always searched out for that. I've wondered that. And, of course, like you said, there's always the religious aspect. But,
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
like you said, it could be, we don't know who's in charge of, everything. Could be one
Yeah.
being, could be split off into sections. We don't know. So,
Yeah.
I just want to protect myself from all angles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. Protect from all angles.
Right.
Spoken like a real guy. Like the guys are always about like the protection from everything, right? I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I just want to be good,
Yeah.
my family to be
Exactly.
happy.
One thing how we like to kind of end the show is asking our guests, like, if you could say like one positive like thing to our audience, like a piece of advice or something, like what would you give to them?
Oh, you know what? And I hope they take, there's so many things I would say. I know I have to choose one. I would say follow your soul's calling. It knows. Don't follow what you've been taught to follow. Everybody has been taught to follow a role, right? And everybody means well, like our parents, workers, teachers, everybody
Right.
taught us to follow a role. And we tend to fall into that. I would say follow your soul's calling. It tells you, it speaks to you,
Right.
and it knows the way. It won't misguide you. You'll make money, you'll be happy, you'll be healthy. So follow your
Yes.
soul.
That's what everybody wants. So yeah, that's perfect. I love that.
Yeah, and then before we let you go, is there any your website? Did you want to put
Yeah.
it in your social media you have,
I
so they
appreciate
can get to
that.
know you better too?
I appreciate that. Well, if anybody wants to connect with me, I'd love to connect with them.
Mhm.
On Instagram, it's Scarlet's Soul Cafe. On Facebook, it's the same, Scarlet's Soul Cafe. And I'm with 1 T, not 2. If they're looking to, if they can't find me there and they want to send me a message, they can email me at scarletswhispers@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, we had such a great time talking to you and getting to know you.
Such a great conversation.
Likewise,
absolutely.
likewise. You
Yes, and
guys are
thank
absolutely delightful.
well, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, we really do.
We really like doing this, and especially getting to know
people and learning things about them.
Yes, and just your perspective. That's why we definitely we connected right away.
Thank you so
Listen, I
much.
appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing because you're inspiring the world. So thank you.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
You have a great rest of your day.
Have a good night.
You as well. Thank you so much for the invite. Had fun with you guys.